Hey guys, welcome to Saab Talk Live, show by some folks who love Saabs for people who love Saabs. Coming up in a couple of weeks here, we're going to be around every Thursday evening at 8 o'clock, bringing you stories about Saab owners from around the world, kind of what they're doing with their cars, the Saab community, and just lots of information to help you keep your car running great, keep it on the road, and hopefully increase its value a little bit. Hey, in case we haven't met, if this is the first time you're checking us out, my name is Lee Kelso. I am a former TV news guy and now just kind of a hack mechanic, an amateur mechanic, and I'm working to keep an old Saab on the road. Let me show it to you here. So this is my Saab. This is a 1994 convertible that I found at the edge of a junkyard down near Indianapolis, and a friend of mine helped get it running, and I bought it from him then. And man, I just drove the snot out of this car last summer. It was a lot of fun, and wound up blowing the head gasket, which led to me tearing the engine apart, and we installed some oversized forged aluminum pistons and did a lot of work to kind of get the car back together. And there it is. So it's running, it's doing its thing. And that's pretty cool. Ran pretty well. You can see it really kind of shaking and doing a death rattle here. That's because I had the exhaust valve timing off by about a tooth or so. But hey, I got that fixed. And the car ended up the summer running pretty well. It's in the garage right now, waiting for the return of springtime weather. So we're going to talk about Saabs of all ages. I'm really kind of a classic Saab 900 guy, so that's why I've asked Mark Romisher to join us here on the broadcast. He owns 3 of the more modern Saabs. Mark, good to see you. Tell us about your fleet.
Oh, hey, how's it going, Lee? I actually have Saabs in the 2000s, which is the unfortunate last decade of Saab's existence, but I have enjoyed my cars thoroughly. I have a 2005 Saab 95 Aero. I have a 2006 Saab 95 Sport Combi Wagon that you see on screen, and I also have a 2008 Saab 93 convertible Aero, which is blasty blast to drive around the summertime.
Yeah, we're going to talk about all those in a second. What do you got going on? What were you doing when you had this up on those easy lifts?
At this point, I was actually replacing the front struts during this process, and I had the front struts wore out, so I ended up going with the replacement struts up front from Bilstein, and it's been wonderful ride ever since. Really, really happy with the upgrade there.
And here's your vert. Boy, that's a
Yep.
beautiful color.
Yep, this is actually paint code 305 electric blue. This is a 2008 Saab 93 Aero with the 2.8 V6, and it's a joy to drive. It's essentially, I went chasing after this car, and I had some definitive help from a Swedish performance shop down in North Carolina that helped me acquire this, and I'm very, very grateful.
I
And
see you obviously take it to some car events. Don't let any of that German stuff rub up on you here now.
now, wait a minute. I do have exposure to some of the other European cars. However, I still enjoy my Swedish car just fine.
And you know what? And I pulled up this shot because these are your daily drivers, man. You're out with these things slugging through the
Yep.
winter here, right?
Yeah, this was actually a recent ice storm, and it was just a testament to how these cars can hold up in the weather. Started right up as course, and of course the ice recently here in Virginia was absolutely ridiculous, but
Yeah.
they do quite well. They all started up just fine.
So you got some splaining to do about this one, buddy. What's the story here?
This is when I was at Carlisle, my first year back in 2018, and they have the girls representing different countries. As you can see, they're dressed up in different, culturally appropriate styles,
Nicely put.
and they are quite lovely, and they are there to participate in the event. They happen to be taking pictures with myriad of cars, and I was lucky to get my Chili Saab in the picture as well.
Well, isn't that lovely? Good job. Good job. That looks like a lot of fun. Yeah, it does. So Mark and I hang out a lot in the Saab Facebook groups and different places online. I'm always looking for interesting Saab stories, and we're going to bring you stories from people around the world here as things roll on. I also like to pay attention to what's going on in the auctions and watch the Saabs go through. And this one caught my eye just recently. Here, let me show it to you. This is a 1987 Saab convertible, of course. And man, what a great car. This car just was beautiful. I was really impressed taking a look at it. Quite a bit of work has been done to this cars, and it's been customized. And, you know, that can be kind of dangerous at times, I think, Mark.
Hmm. It definitely can be, but man, it's so much fun.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
It's well, okay. Coming from a younger perspective, I first started out Saab in 2017, and I didn't know anything about Saabs. I had seen the movies here and there, typical, sideline knowledge about the vehicle brand. But
Yeah.
you see it here and there. You see it at movies. You see it on the road once in a while. Okay, cool, Saab. It's quirky. It's weird. It's off. Not typically mainstream. Architects and dentists drive them. Cool. That's what I hear. But that's the whole stereotype.
Yeah.
And before I knew all that, a friend of mine convinced me that instead of going out to get I was driving my truck at the time, and instead of going out to get a Toyota Corolla or a Honda Civic, heaven forbid, I was just trying to find something that was decent on gas. And he said, hey, you shouldn't go for those cars. They're too boring. You need something a little more fun. And he was like, hey, I got the Saab 9.5. You should go ahead and buy this one. I was like, all right, I'll give it a try.
In the station wagon, heck, it's almost a truck. I mean,
it is. Don't worry, I have plans for a roof rack that'll increase its utilitarian capacity as well. So I love all my vehicles, and I drive them specifically for different purposes. However, I got to say that the journey has been fun as hell.
Well, that Saab we were just talking about here sold for $21,000, and the engine compartment on this thing very, very neat and tidy, looked real great. But if you look real close, you will see that this car is this is by no means stock. This car is. It's been modified, and there's been a lot of work that's gone into this car. Check out this list that they published on Bring a Trailer of all the work that was done to this car. I mean, the fuel system was modified, the ignition system totally done over to a T5. It's got just all kinds of stuff that's been done to it. And then I get checking out all the information about this, and I find a lot of this work, most of this work, was done by none other than Jordan Pagano of Modern Classic Saab. So we reached out to Jordan and asked him to join us here to tell us a little bit more about this car. Jordan, good to see you. Thanks for popping in.
Hi, thanks for inviting me.
So this car is, wow, 21,005. 21,005 was a sales price on that. Did it surprise you?
Yeah, it did. I was, people ask me, what do you think it's going to go for? And I probably gave, 15, maybe 18 if it's a good day. It's always hard to tell with these cars because it's, COVID times, it's winter time. It's not necessarily convertible season. So you don't know what's in people's minds, before that bell closes.
So you did just a ton of work on this car. We saw that list of work that was done, and take us through some of that stuff. Well, I've got some images here that I want to share. So here's one.
Yeah, so that was it was I really did it in stages. I think I did the T5 conversion. So when I arrived, it was a running driving car, and it rode and drove pretty well. But it had a list of wants and needs. So I went through it. I did the T5 conversion, and then I stripped it all back down and built up everything from there. Did all the service things that you could ask for, and just kind of, checked all the boxes and tried to make it as reliable as possible.
And that's a custom milled flywheel there. I think you made that, right?
Yes. Yeah. So that part of the T5 conversion, I offer a flywheel kit That one has a couple extra features where it's lightened, but it also, I figured out how you could use the clutch pressure plate out of a Saab Viggen, and that was essentially made to suit that. So it uses a very high strength pressure plate, so you can hold all the torque from the big turbo, but it's not one of those, you don't have to use a race clutch, which has a weird friction material, and it doesn't drive very well on the street. So you get basically an OEM feel, but you get the strength of a very high torque application.
Nice. What a great looking car you've put together there. I was really impressed with that. What do you think this guy had in it? Did he come out okay if he sold it for for that much money?
I mean, I think he enjoyed it for probably a low dollar amount. I don't know exactly what he paid for the car, and I don't know, what other, work he had done prior to that. It was fairly well prepped when I got it in terms of all the background items, like I had an intercooler already, totally stock engine and everything. I think he had also done a lot of the previous bolt-on modifications, which we've swapped out for T5. So he had like
and this is
fuel chips and stuff. Yeah.
Is this the diff cover, the strengthened diff cover?
Yeah, it's a reinforced diff cover that I make. I should brought one here to show and tell.
Oh, hang on. Let me get that on the screen for you. Give me a second.
Yeah, there it is. You go.
Oh,
There's
wow.
a prototype billet. So this is actually a Saab produced one of these back in the 70s, but it wasn't made of aluminum. It was sort of coarsely welded steel plates. But this is just my take on that.
Why do I want that? What does that do for me?
Well, Saab used it in their competition department to really reinforce the differential side of the transmission. So there's the transaxle there, and you have your ring and pinion, and because you have that large opening in the back with that normally has a thin steel plate on it, so you can potentially have some flex between the ring and pinion, and this helps to basically shore that up and strengthen that part of the gearbox.
So William's saying he needs some advice regarding his Saab. If you want to ask a question, maybe we can get one of these guys to give us some more about that. Look at that, Jordan. Being pretty humble about your work, he says. That's some beautiful work you've done there, really.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I did have a question about that plate, though. I noticed that you have there are fins designed into that as well. Does that offer some cooling capacity for the fluid as well?
Yeah, so again, that was the design. The original design essentially is for strength, but while I was there, I figured, well, can we do anything to make it better? So the other issue that people have a lot with the welded design, which is steel plate, is that when the two pieces get welded together, because you have to make a little clearance hump for the differential, that the plate will warp, so they don't seal quite right, and then they start dripping oil and whatever. But when you mill one out of a giant block of aluminum, you can make the surface super flat, and so that makes for a leak-free operation. And I offer a couple other features on it too. It's got other ports where you can add little cooling ports and ducts and things like that. And yes, so I also took a book out of the American rear differential catalog where they have cooling fins on the back to hopefully cool that off, because that is the hottest part of the transmission, which I found out racing Saabs for many years.
So Frankie's got a question for you, and Jordan, I wouldn't know the answer to this. Do you? Can you see it on the screen, Jordan? I don't know if you can.
Yes. Yeah, I can see it. About the power steering reservoir cap leaking.
Yeah.
One. Get a new cap. I think they have a seal on them. Yeah, it's. I think that's the sports sedan 9.3. I think that's what he's referring to, and they have. There's a couple of reasons why they might leak, but from my recollection, they can be pressurized and overfilled because they actually the oil blows by the seals on the power steering because it's actually attached to the head, and it can blow by the motor and actually pressurize the reservoir, and then you get stuff blown out of it. But maybe it just needs a new seal on top too. So there's Saab Parts has a great seal kit for both. There's like a couple, rubber seals that you can replace in that.
And that's esaabparts.com in case you guys aren't familiar with it. So, hey, check this one out. I don't know where Mahaya is from, but maybe you can let us know. Interesting, Mark. He says he likes the 9.3 dynamics over the 9.5. Do you notice a difference?
The 9.3, if I were to make the differentiation, the 9.5 is more of a comfort vehicle, even though it can be suited for performance, and the 9.3 is more sporty in its suspension, I guess, design. So 9.3s are typically in, now this is the 2003, 2004 and forward design that I'm referring to. Because I noticed that the gentleman's question earlier was for 2003. In 2003, in the sedan, that's when they changed the body style for the Saab 9.3. And then in 2004, for the convertible, that's when they made that transition there. So the sedan and convertible were both built on the Epsilon platform. And they were essentially designed to where the frame is more stiff, as well as other suspension upgrades, at least from what I have been made to understand.
So it's a big difference between the two in terms of the chassis, but they drive very, very differently. But the engine mechanics and stuff is similar.
Look at what this guy Dutch Motorsports posts about all the time work that he's done with his car, and that's what's happening. I think now in the Saab community is guys are getting these cars because they're so cheap and they've got a good platform to grow from and build with. And we talked about this earlier. Some guys think that's you ought to leave these Saabs alone, but I think there's a lot of interest in tweaking and toying with these cars out there.
Oh yeah,
all right.
absolutely.
Let's drop in and see what somebody else has got to ask before we jump ahead to some other things. Yeah, speaker stuff. Well, good luck with that, right? Electronics, hard to diagnose and hard to know. So, hey, Jordan, I wanted to get back to you for a second because Modern Classic Saabs is your company.
Sure.
And so you're making all kinds of stuff. What are your best sellers and what you're thinking about, what you're working on? Look at that. He's going,
I develop. Yeah, where do I start? A lot of the products that I sort of developed and I've been working on for a while, a lot of the T5 stuff requires a lot of, sort of additional items or sort of make things easier to install. So I make those companion items to go along with kits just to make it a complete kit. Most of that bolts right on. I mean, the kits that I make, everything it's just a plug-in kit. So all those accessories, a lot of adapters and little pieces that sort of cut the hard work out of making the conversion possible. So I make a lot of that stuff. Let's see, I don't think I brought anything over here. But other than that, I do a lot of reproductions of parts. Hard to find things that you wish you could find, but you can't do anymore. Mostly it's just solving problems. Somebody is missing something or you need something for the car to go. I try to come up with some solution for that.
Well, you certainly poured a ton of work into that Saab that was on Bring a Trailer. You sent me a video of being out on the road with this car. I want to watch this thing wind out.
Yeah, I think that was like fourth or fifth gear too. So it was not like a full acceleration run. It was just a little, while I could hold the phone.
I have never seen my boost gauge go that far over, Jordan. You put a different turbo in this one, huh?
Yeah, and the great thing about that turbo too is it's actually not that much boost. I think it's probably 18 psi of boost and was making close to 300 or over 300 crank horsepower for sure. But yeah, I mean that's the point, is to make everything as efficient as possible and make it just run nice and smooth.
And so, yeah, for those who don't know, the T5 just kind of, you blow out the ignition system and you get rid of the distributor, and it just is a lot more modern. You place it with one of the direct injection or direct ignition cassettes from the newer engine, And it just runs more smoothly and behaves more like a modern engine, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, Tronic is effectively all three systems. So you have fuel system, ignition system, and the boost control system. They're all integrated into one computer, one controller. So you sort of ditch everything, all those three independent systems out of the old cars, and you put the slightly newer, maybe 10 years newer technology in there.
So, what do you think is going to be the thing that is going to keep you busiest here? New parts coming on, and we talked a little bit about that earlier. But what do you think is going to be a new item you're going to release very soon?
Let's see, very soon. I have like, too many I'm working on all at once. I have these little roof covers. These little 3D printed
drip rail
cover,
at the back.
Drip rail. Yeah, it actually is covers the weld seam on between the roof and the C-pillar. That's what that's for. It's a 3D printed little part. Another 3D printed part I have are these Sonnet, or soccer ball Saab 99 and Sonnet wheel hubcaps.
Yeah, those are cool.
Those for 3D printing. I was telling you guys about this before. This is the parallel shift linkage for a 9.5. So this is 3D printed for now, but I will probably be making these out of aluminum at some point in the near future. So it is a final prototype of that. I also have a bunch of car projects that are going to be in my driveway pretty soon. And there's another BAT car. I don't know if you guys saw that silver airflow. Very, very nice looking 900 turbo. It's a silver airflow car. It's in
did it
central
sell
Pennsylvania.
Ago?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, probably six weeks ago, but it also went for a pretty good. So I've been in contact with him. It sounds like he's going to be dropping the car off when I get some time. Awesome. And yeah, I got a couple other special cars in the queue that I'll be working on.
We got a couple more questions for you, Jordan. People want to get your
Sure.
expertise here. So the GM Ecotechs.
Which one? Where are we starting here? GM Ecotechs. Are they derived from? No, those are completely GM engines. Those I think are those are basically based off the Ecotech, which came out in the Neon or not Neon. I'm sorry, can't think of it. The little tiny car. But anyway, yeah, it's an Ecotech.
So 94 900S coolant leak oil leak where the block meets the head. Ooh, sounds like a head gasket. Is it worth to rebuild? Yeah, it is.
94 900S. Again, those 94s and 2003s, you always have to specify what it is. Is it a convertible?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Is it a new gen or the original?
94 900S convertible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. I automatically was thinking it was.
Let's see. Brett, I see a question from Brett Bassman.
Let me get to it. You're ahead of me. There it is. There's Brett's question.
Done. Is there any more work? I mean, I have a daily driver 900 that is basically just T5 and nothing else, and it's been dead reliable since, I don't know, 7 or 8 years now. I just told somebody the other day I did have a bad DI cassette, which I think lasted about 7 years until I had to replace that. But other than your normal spark plugs and oil changes. How about that? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear. I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I think I'm okay. I can hear. Yeah, I can hear everybody else. Okay. I don't know. I don't know who's
you doing okay on your end, Lee?
Lee is frozen on.
Oh goodness.
For me, is he frozen for you?
He is.
Yeah. He's just staring intently into the distance. There he is. There he's now. He's back.
Looks like the network had a blip there, which can happen.
Yeah. Sure did. Man, we got lots of people asking questions here. Do you guys want to hang on to a little more tech support, or have you had enough?
I'm welcome to answer questions. That's fine.
Hang out for a minute. Yeah.
not a problem. But I see this. I have a clank
Screamish.
coming from my engine and don't know what in the heck it is. Took my valve cover off and it cranked the engine, and every so rotation it clanks. It's a tough to say with the information there, but the best way I can think of is if you have a clanking sound, yes, that is typically inside the engine. I also say that just double check the accessory pulleys. Make sure there's nothing that is too out of sorts there, because you can get sometimes power steering pump, coolant pump, stuff like that. You have to watch out for. Sometimes those guys are so um, uh, basically damaged that they can cause some clanking noises as well. I have seen that before, but yeah, definitely see if you can at least crank it over and try and locate that.
I think the trick would be, does it clank every 1 rotation or every 2 rotations? Because if it's something in the bottom end, then that's, going around once every time, and
Right.
it'd be 2 too. So you have head noise, and you have header valve, which will go half speed than the bottom end will.
Oh yeah.
So this guy's asking about the bumpers. Common problem. My convertibles bumpers are kind of rough as well. You can sand those down and repaint them. And SEM is a brand that makes a flexible bumper paint. And there's also a bumper filler. I've got a big gash in one of my bumpers. Have you done that before, Jordan? Is that a outcome look pretty good?
Yeah, I am not a body person at all.
Neither am I.
I can polish stuff, but I have heard the same as you, and I believe it works pretty well.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one.
All right, guys, I didn't want to go on too long here. We're almost a half an hour, so let's kind of think about wrapping it up there. Hey, Jordan, thanks for coming by. If you would like to check out Jordan's products, you saw the quality that goes into a lot of those things, lots of ingenuity, and you can find them at modernclassicsaab.com. That's just Modern Classics. That's right, isn't it?
Modernclassicsaab.com. Yep.
Yeah, no, you'll find him there. So, Jordan, thanks. We probably going to invite you back some point down the road.
Sure thing. Thanks
Great.
for having me.
Good to see you. It was nice to have Jordan pop in for us there, wasn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, hey, in the future, this was kind of a test drive for us. We're going to take a couple weeks off, retool, get some vacation in, that kind of stuff. And then Mark and I will be back, like we said, kind of on a weekly basis every Thursday at 8 o'clock. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun going forward, Mark.
Absolutely. I look forward to talk with more Saab enthusiasts. I love to share the joy for sure.
Yeah, and if you'd like to submit pictures to us, we'll work that out and be able to show and share some of your cars and what you're doing with them. One of our next episodes, maybe not the next, but one of the next is we're going to Russia to meet a guy who has created, with a partner, a short shift kit. I think we're going to bounce over to Finland in the near future and talk to a guy who's actually engineered a twin turbo in an old classic 900. And I've been in touch with guys from the Skip Barber Racing School about how you can pick up some front wheel drive performance driving tips. So, man, lots of good stuff we're going to cover as we roll forward here. And we hope that you'll look for us live every Thursday night so we can answer your question. And then otherwise, catch us on the replay on YouTube and on Facebook. Mark, hope you have a great week. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Sounds great.
All right. Take care, guys. Adios.